Castlevania Nocturne is the newest animated series by Netflix based on the Castlevania video game series. So, Castlevania Nocturne is a sequel series to the first Castlevania animated series by Powerhouse Animation and Netflix. That one followed, I believe his name was Trevor Belmont, and his journey to try to defeat Dracula. This show follows Richter Belmont's late ancestor by hundreds of years, I want to say. This takes place hundreds of years from the first series, and it does follow Richter Belmont, who is also a vampire hunter, since the Belmonts have a long lineage of fighting vampires and demons and whatnot. So, this is a really good animated series. The first Castlevania animated series was fantastic. I absolutely loved it. It did have some flaws. The first season was, I think, about 4 episodes long, and it was a little, not super great, but it was still a pretty good series. It was the first season of a new series, and it had a little bumps in it. I think in the pacing and a little bit in the animation. But this sequel series is just absolutely fantastic. The animation team has grown, and you can really tell that maybe they got a bigger budget, but they're putting a lot more amazing stuff in this animated series. It's really beautiful. When they use magic, the scenery, everything is just really fantastic. Really fluid, crazy fight scenes in this series, which I absolutely love. That's something that the first series had, some amazing fights, but I think this one kind of takes it up a little bit up a notch because, like I said, the animation team has a lot more experience under their belts, or at least from when they made the first series. So, animation's fantastic, the characters are fantastic. I really love the story of Richter Belmont and his friends, Maria, who's a summoner who can summon magical beasts, Annette, who has the power to create metal weapons from sand and dirt and stone, I believe. Tara, who is the mother figure of Richter Belmont and the actual mother, Maria, in their journey to try to stop these vampires in France during the Revolution, who are the upper class of people just oppressing all the lower class people and also just feeding off of them because they're vampires. This story really focuses on freedom and the cost of freedom. Annette is a former slave who escaped her bonds and fought a revolution in her country of, I believe they said, Haiti. Richter has past trauma that, holds him back and keeps him as a prisoner. All these characters have something kind of holding them back before they can actually, truly be free people. It's a lot of that they talk about throughout the show, what it means to be free, what it means to fight for freedom, why we should fight for freedom, why it's important to fight for freedom, which I actually really, really enjoyed and like as the theme of this show. I tend to be a dense person, I'm not gonna lie, so sometimes themes just fly over my head. But this one was, I think, spot on and really just correlated with me. So like I said, this is a fantastic show. If you love the original one, you're really gonna like this one. If you're a fan of the Castlevania animated series, if you just like good action shows or good character shows, I think you're really gonna enjoy this show. I give it an 8 out of 10. It's super fantastic. Like I said, it's an evolution of the first series, improving everything, the characters and everything. Really works, really fantastic. 8 out of 10. Recommend it. It's 8 episodes long on Netflix. I think the longest episode is around 30 minutes. So each episode's around like 25 to 30 minutes, not very long. A quick watch, a quick, fun, exciting watch. You'll really just go right through it. So I do recommend it. Go check it out. 8 out of 10, Netflix. So I want to talk spoilers about the show. So if you haven't seen the show, go check it out. It's fantastic. You'll love it. So spoilers. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Spoilers. I'm talking spoilers, so you were warned. So this show follows Richter Belmont, as I said, and in the beginning he starts off as a young boy. I don't really know the age. Maybe he's 12 or 11. It's hard to say. And him and his mom are in the Americas in the 1700s, running she's trying to get Richter to the docks so he can go on the boats and go back to France or go to France so he can stay with his estranged aunt Tara. His mom seems like she's really scared of something. She's really in a hurry. Richter's really upset because he wants to stay and fight vampires with her and be taught by her. But like I said, she's afraid, and what she's afraid of is a vampire, a really powerful vampire, who shows up before they get to the docks, and her and this vampire, Lork, I'm gonna mess up a few names. Lark, I can't remember his name by the life of me. It's something with an L though. He's a very powerful vampire, and him and Richter's mom get in a fight, and Richter's mom puts up a really fantastic fight, but she ends up getting defeated by this vampire who's very powerful. He transforms into like this snake demon type thing and kills her. And then he lets Richter live and leave because he was only after his mom because she slighted him. It was pretty much for revenge. She killed someone he loved, and he just wanted a revenge. So that's the only reason he was chasing them down. So Richter runs to the docks. He gets on the boat. He ends up in France, and the show picks up 9 years later. So him and his stepsister, adopted sister, whatever you want to call her, Maria, who's again a summoner, are having this meeting for revolutionaries because we're now in France during the revolution, and they're having this meeting about how they need to revolt from the upper class and get away from this system that is just oppressing them and everything like that. And then 3 vampires attack them, and Maria and Richter take them out pretty easily in a real cool fight. And then they go to the abbey to meet the priest. I want to say priest. I forget what he's called. He's a again, bad with names. So they go meet with him, and he's just like, oh, well, I'm not going to side with you guys because I don't like you. I don't like revolutionaries. But I will team up with you because we have a common enemy, because they believe the vampires are at this aristocrat mansion type place. So he's like, I'll send my spies to go find out information, and then we can team up and take them down if that's really the case. So they go back home to their mother, Tara, and we learn that the church is actually aligned with the vampires, which isn't that surprising. The church is creating these monsters, like in the first series, they have this soul forge that takes dead bodies and turns them into monsters. And, they're doing this because, as I said, the priest guy, he just hates revolutionaries. He knows that they're killing priests and burning down churches and everything like that. And he sees that as an affront to God, and so he feels like he needs to raise an army to fight against the revolutionaries, destroy them, and get people back on the path of God. Of course, in his twisted mind, he teams up with a fucking devil who gives him a machine to make more demons, and he also ends up aligning with the vampires who kill people and then provide him bodies. So they have this unholy union going. So Richter and Maria aren't aware of this yet, but they go to Tara, and they're like, oh, we don't know if we can trust him. He might be bad, but either way, we need to take care of this vampire problem. Just then, they're attacked by 3 of the demons sent by the priest, and they really don't know him because, again, Richter's mom died when he was young, so he doesn't have a lot of training. He's really fantastic at fighting, but he's lacking some knowledge. And these type of demons haven't been seen in centuries as well, so he just doesn't recognize them. So they have a little bit of a tough time fighting them. But this is when they're saved by Annette and Edouard. I'm gonna butcher his fucking name, but he is an opera singer. So they were sent from Haiti from one of their head priest ladies. She said to go to France and find the Belmonts, which is Richter, and team up with him to stop this evil vampire messiah from taking over the world. So they decide to team up, and they go attack the rich mansion full of vampires, and everything goes wrong. Of course it goes wrong. And Edouard ends up getting killed. They start fighting all the vampires and everything. They put up a good fight, but they're just overwhelmed, so they start running. And when they run, that's when he gets captured and killed. And they end up putting his body in the forge machine to turn him into a demon monster thing. So this is the team. This is their first loss, and it's kind of a thing that happens throughout the show. They're really the underdogs here. There's a lot of vampires in town, and the church is against them, and there's just like a handful of them. So now there's only 4 of them left, and they're just like, what are we gonna do? How are we gonna defeat these people? So they're like, well, we need to first find out what is going on. We need to learn if the church is bad. So they decide to take the secret tunnel into the church to be like, okay, well, we need to find out if they're evil. So they go down there, and I'm missing a few pieces, but you just gotta bear with me. I don't want to take too much time. So they go to the church, they find out the church is evil, they see all the demons, and they see Edward. Well, they saw him earlier, but they find him caged, and he's regaining his personality and mentality and still singing, which these demons aren't supposed to be able to do. So they end up fighting the priests and the demons, and there's some vampires there. And I love this part because they're doing poorly at first, but then they start getting the upper hand. But then Olax, the vampire who killed Richter's mom, shows up. He's been kind of in the background the last few episodes in France, but he shows up down in the catacomb tunnels, and Richter just loses his mind. Like, he hasn't been able to use magic since he saw his mom die in front of his face. And this is his trauma just hitting him like a train, and he literally just takes off running. And the rest of them are just like, did he just run? Did he just run? So they make an escape, and they get out of there. And, they go on they kind of separate a little bit. Not a lot, like, Annette is still with Maria and Tara. They're trying to figure out what's going on. But Richter is just, he took off. He goes off to like this, he ends up in a small town. And he ends up finding his grandfather, which I kind of didn't like this piece because he was supposed to be the last Belmont after his mom, but apparently his grandfather was still alive, and just no one told him, and they're keeping it a secret, and his grandfather was just staying distance. Anyway, a group of vampires end up attacking him, and they tell him that they're going to kill Maria and Tara, his adopted mom, and this causes him to just kind of break loose. He's finally able to use magic for the first time in 9 years, and he's extremely powerful in this really cool, amazing scene, and he kills all the vampires, and he decides to go back to the town to help Maria and them take out these head vampires and everything before they can enact their plan. It's not the evil Forge machine. So they end up reuniting, and it turns out that the priest guy was Maria's father. So she goes to warn him that, hey, we're gonna go attack this place, and we're gonna, we're probably gonna kill a lot of people and destroy all your demons and everything. But she's like, come with me, leave all this behind, leave all this ignorance and hatred. You want to do good by the church, but you're making a pact with a demon. It just doesn't make any sense. But he's completely lost at this point, and he captures her, and he's going to use her as a sacrifice to the main head vampire, the Eater of the Night, or Eater of the Lights, the Mistress of the Nights. I can't remember her name. She's this really powerful vampire who supposedly drank the blood of one of the Egyptian gods. So she apparently has this power, and I just don't really understand how she has it, to eclipse the sun. So when she shows up, she ends up eclipsing the sun. This is like right at the final 2 episodes. So Richter, Tara, and this other guy who's their ally, they make a run for it to try to help Maria and save her from the priests and the evil vampires. So they break through the town fighting the church's soldiers and vampires, and they get to the church, and Tara starts chanting out of this book to open up portals so they can push the demon creating machine back into hell. So while she's doing that, Annette, Richter are fighting, and they free Maria, and they're all fighting, and it's kind of back and forth. They're having a hard time, and it goes down to the catacombs, and she starts pushing the machine into hell, and Tara's still chanting, and then it's just Maria and Richter, and they start doing good. But this is when the head vampire comes, and she just works them all. She really just beats them up real quickly, and things kind of escalate from there. Tara stops chanting, and the portal ends up closing. So Annette, now I'm confused what her name is. Anyway, the head vampire is going to turn Maria into a vampire, but Tara offers herself up because they had a deal with the priest that in order to enact their pact, he would offer up someone he loves. So Tara and him had a relationship in the past, secret one, because again he's a church member priest. So Tara offers herself up to save her daughter, and Richter and Annette escape. They end up escaping and running, trying to get away from the town because now it's full of vampires and the town people have turned on them and the church is against them. And this is where we get to the end, which is, the ending is really fantastic. I love this ending and can't wait for the next season. So Tara ends up getting turned into a vampire, which is kind of a sad, frightening scene. Like, she's been this mother figure to the characters and us since the first episode, so to see her die and become essentially the enemy, it's heartbreaking. But Richter is running with Maria, holding Maria, who's still knocked out, and Annette's with him, and it's pretty much just the three of them now, and a horde of vampires just starts chasing them out of the city, and it ends up they're gonna have to fight them to escape, but there's just too many numbers, and they start, the main right-hand vampire lady, I can't remember her name is, attacks Richter, and she's about to kill Richter when all of a sudden she gets impaled through the stomach, and then Alucard shows up. So if you've seen the first series or played the video games, Alucard is Dracula's son. So Dracula's son shows up and saves them. And he's like, I heard, are you the Belmonts? He's like, I heard you guys were in trouble and overwhelmed and, the world is doomed. So, I'm a little late, but I came to help. So that's where the season ends, with Alucard showing up to help Richter, Maria, and Annette. Again, horrible. I skipped a lot of things, but like I said, it's really fantastic. Go watch it. I really love that ending. I was really at the edge of my seat. I was like, are these characters going to escape? Are they going to find a place to hide? Is Tara going to really turn into a vampire? Which she did, which was just, again, heartbreaking. But it was really cool to see a little hope show of Alucard, because I was just like, these characters are doomed. I don't know what they're going to do to turn things around. And he showed up, sure enough, and I was like, okay, things are looking a little good. So, like I said, this is an 8 out of 10. I do recommend it. Go watch it. It's a fantastic show, fantastically animated. It's on Netflix. If you watched it, did you like it? Did you hate it? Did you like the first series? What games in the series do you recommend playing? Let me know in the comments below. As always, thank you for watching, like and subscribe, and I will catch you in the next one. Peace out.